Speaker Mike Johnson leaves the door open to recess appointments. The House Speaker Johnson told Fox News Sunday that we'll have to see how this develops when asked whether he'll let Trump bypass the usual Senate confirmation process. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Sunday left the door open to adjourn Congress so President-elect Donald Trump can appoint his cabinet nominees outside of the usual Senate confirmation process if necessary. We're in a time of very divided government and a very partisan atmosphere in Washington. I wish it were not. I wish the Senate would simply do its job and advise and consent and allow the president to put the person in his cabinet of his choosing. But if this thing boils down, it would be a great deterrent to the country, to the American people. Johnson told Fox News Sunday in response to a question about whether he'd be willing to let Trump use the recess appointment process rather than the traditional Senate confirmation process for certain nominees. A recess appointment occurs when the president unilaterally bypasses the Senate's responsibility to confirm cabinet nominees and appoints them to the job during a period when both the House and the Senate are not in session for at least 10 days. Johnson said Sunday, we'll evaluate all of that at the appropriate time and we'll make the appropriate decision. There may be a function for that and we'll have to see how it plays out. He added, I'm sympathetic to all these arguments. As I said, we'll have to see how this develops. I am very hopeful, and that the Senate will do its job, and that is, provide its advice and consent and move these nominees along. To allow the recess appointment process to take place, the House and Senate will have to both vote to adjourn for a period of at least 10 days, which will either require them to agree unanimously to do so, or will require both chambers to vote on a concurrent resolution to adjourn for a specific amount of time. Both chambers usually gavel in for pro forma sessions, even during times of recess, specifically to prevent the president from making recess appointments and bypassing congressional approval. President Barack Obama once tried to use recess appointment and was rebuked by the Supreme Court, which said in 2014 that recesses needed to be 10 days or longer for recess appointments to be legal. Johnson is the only Trump ally who has left the door open to using the recess appointment to confirm Trump's cabinet picks. Also on Sunday, Oklahoma GOP Senate Mark Wayne Mullins told NBC News Meet the Press that confirming some of Trump's picks would be a very difficult process, and thus recess appointments would be last resort. It'll be the absolute last resort, Mullins said. But if that's what we have to do to get the confirmation through, then absolutely, let's do it. But I would say that would be last option. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Sunday that Democrats would try to push against GOP efforts to make recess appointments, telling NBC News, Meet the Press, that if Republicans try to bypass the usual Senate confirmation process, we will work very closely with our Senate Democratic colleagues. I have great trust and respect in Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Dick Durbin to make sure that no end runs can be done. On Sunday, Johnson also spoke about Trump's pick for Attorney General, GOP former Representative Matt Gaetz. Gaetz is under scrutiny after he resigns from the House last week in the wake of his nomination to Trump's cabinet. While serving in Congress, he was the subject of an investigation by the House Ethnic Committee into allegations that he had sex with a 17-year-old girl. Gaetz has repeatedly denied the allegations, but senators on both sides of the aisle have said for the committee's report to be released publicly or shared with them privately ahead of his confirmation vote. Johnson has previously advocated against the release of the report, and on Sunday told CNN that I have said with regards to the report is that it should not come out. And why? Because Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress. He is no longer a member. There's a very important protocol and tradition and rule that we maintain that the House Ethics Committee tradition does not extend to non-members of Congress. He added that senators will have a rigorous review and vetting process in the Senate, but they don't need to rely upon a report or a draft report, a rough draft report that was prepared by the Ethics Committee for its very limited purposes. Johnson also said that he has not spoken to the president-elect about the ethnic report. I have literally not discussed one word about the ethnic report, not once, and I've been with him quite a bit this week, Johnson said.